There and I was stripped, and it was hot totally yet to clear up any doubt. I have a keen interest in Jay-Z. I thoroughly accept that, however, it's a particularly, he's to make sure he's a dull child. In the mid-2000s graph, besting around B. Narrow's Blu Cantrell was perhaps of the greatest name in the business. And it seems like just her unexpected vanishing from the spotlight assisted other female craftsmen with enjoying Beyonce's ascent to distinction. It's been generally guessed that Blue's vocation would have taken amazing levels if not for Sovereign B, yet what truly occurred between these two seems like Wendy Williams knows the response. And after such countless long stretches of quiet she approaching to spill the most sizzling tea you can, at any point envision what might be said about her. Don't we realize that interfaces her to you? Since I know greetings everybody, and welcome back to Celeb Live channel. So it appears as though Beyonce's monstrous exercises are coming to surface after the previous television diva Wendy Williams uncovered her contribution in Blu Cantrell's run-in of Spotlight. And evidently, it has something to do with long-time bits of hearsay about Blue and Sovereign Honeybee's significant other, Jay-Z. And you know, folks, where there's smoke, there's certainly fire, since individuals have been discussing Beyonce and Jay-Z's absence of science for a long time. And it probably become the explanation of him laying down with numerous different ladies, genuinely, so you can't interface. And afterward now, every one of the things occur from that point. Certain individuals say that Blu Cantrell wasn't R&B #1. On the 2000s, she was likewise Jay-Z's large love. And that is the reason Beyoncé chose to dispose of such a hazardous contender for popularity and magnificence. In the event that you don't know, Blu burst onto the music scene in 2001 with the arrival of her presentation collection. It was a decent beginning to an apparently encouraging profession, and it procured her Grammy thought anyway. She out of nowhere stopped making music and has stayed antisocial and away from the media, keep going showing up on television in 2008 until 2014, when her name hit the titles again, depicting the insane episode with the previous R&B star being supposedly harmed obviously. Since the claims that Blu unquestionable necessity been engaged with a close connection with the music big shot things in, haven't gone so flawlessly for her as per the sensationalist newspapers. She endured what seemed like a genuinely terrifying occurrence in 2014, which she was purportedly seen going around the roads of Stinik, Monica, at around 2 a.m. shouting that somebody had harmed her with gas. And keeping in mind that it has never been demonstrated that Beyoncé had something to do with it, many hints are pointing at her in view of Blu's supposed undertaking with Jay Great accident on Jay-Z. I absolutely accept that, however, it's a particularly he's to make sure he's a doll child. So what might be said about the tales about when you all are over in Europe together in the beginning phases of her profession, way before Beyoncé flew, has been exceptionally near Jay-Z. And several of them continually hang out together. To many individuals, it seemed as though they would before long turn into a couple, yet as a matter of fact, as Blu expressed it, never occurred truly in light of her high virtues. And on second thought, just around a similar time in 2001, Jay-Z started dating Beyoncé, and as per Wendy Williams, it was the beginning of the fight between two hot iron darlings, with future Sovereign B being madly envious of Blood, and the bits of gossip about Bob playing it messy just developed. The second Blu blamed Beyoncé for duplicating her style. Beyoncé is capable and delightful. I'm a fan, yet she has a tune out, which is basically the same as mine. She utilizes words which are in the snare of my melody. And in the event that she's that skilled, she shouldn't need to duplicate another person. And Beyoncé wasn't the one to tolerate allegations in light of the fact that later she made sense of that she could never have become wildly successful by essentially replicating someone else's style. I mean, you can counterfeit it for such a long time, yet you can't have a long profession faking it at last. Individuals will see past the literary theft is the same old thing in the business, And Blue was open about this when she brought up that she saw a few dubious similitudes between her tunes and Beyonce's freshest deliveries. While doing a meeting to the Watchman, Blue noticed that the music video for tune Bonnie and Clyde very closely. She fundamentally pronounced a conflict and committed to obliterate each presence of Cantrell in the stage. As one individual remarked, so is this why Beyonce seems to be Blu Cantrell needed her style as well. And another client added, I heard the motivation behind why she named her little girl Blue is on the grounds that Jay-Z's first love was Blu Cantrell. Many individuals realized that well while Beyonce was in the middle of playing her little choral. Evidently, Lou just needed some equity for her on the grounds that in a way that would sound natural to her. She had done nothing terrible to procure such abuse in one of her uncommon meetings. Blue even expressed that Sovereign Honeybee acted like a hurt juvenile young lady who generally disapproved of her sweetheart. She said on the off chance that she is being pessimistic. She needn't bother with to be on the grounds that she's a delightful young lady, yet assuming you dislike your man. And I don't have any idea what the circumstances with them. I would rather not talk on that. Yet assuming you have issues, address it with the person. Don't take it out on the young lady. It's never the best approach, as per Wendy Williams. Beyonce was uncertain about her own place in Jay-Z's life. At that point, when a story with Blue surfaced, that is the reason she needed to kill all contest unequivocally, to turn into the sovereign of the music, Big Shot's heart. Well, Beyonce wasn't the one in particular who accepted that Jay was dating Blue around then. And the artist herself was burnt out on tending to these reports. That wasn't me. I don't have a clue about. At the end of the day, it's obvious that we've hung 2 or multiple times we're companions. And that is all there is to it. You realize individuals saw us openly and expected, and all Big Blue needed to tackle this issue in a cultivated way. Since she didn't find out about the entire hamburger, with Beyonce, the future sovereign of Aram, needed to dispose of her opponent as speedy as conceivable in light of the fact that the gloomy sentiments and terrible exposure were just diverting her from becoming showbiz royalty in the business here. It is charming. I can feel each easily overlooked detail. And I'm not zeroing in on what I should zero in on the grounds that I'm stressed over every other person. And since Beyonce possessed no more energy for that verbal ping-pong, she purportedly continued to additional threatening activities and chose to totally wipe out Blue from the image. Wendy Williams accepts that 2014 episode with Cantrell going wild in a Snick Monica area around 2 a.m. has something to do with Beyonce. Observes, let the media know that Blue was shouting about somebody giving her harmful gas. The episode continued long sufficient that somebody called police. And because of this episode, she was hospitalized. This sounds like an exemplary move in the Broadway. And such countless instances of badly designed celebs are being harmed and systematized. Clearly, Jay-Z's duping nature gave Beyonce motivation to think that her then. At that point, Beau's fellowship with Blue was far something other than friendliness. And as it was demonstrated later on, Beyonce had all motivations to think Day in cheating on the grounds that in 2016 their family symbol was stained by the gossipy tidbits about his disloyalty. And keeping in mind that Blue actually denies every one of the bits of gossip about truly laying down with this man in the past, clearly after Nero's savage assault, including harming, she became weary of making sense of anything, and essentially expressed that Jay-Z and Beyonce ought to take a delay in their relationship and to discover a few guidelines and limits before another moment individual would be harmed battling and criticizing, and most certainly can connect with that And you simply have to take a take in the relationship. Well, there's one thing that Jay-Z didn't understand when he looked at different ladies. His bamboozling nature has presumably gotten numerous skilled female specialists like Blu Cantrell in a difficult situation. And deciding by fans' response, it appears as though everything revolves around becoming wildly successful in the entertainment biz, and Beyonce, solidly guaranteed to her opportunity to turn into the iron's object of worship. As one individual remarked, I don't have any idea what any lady would find in Jay-Z. Assuming that you removed his cash and influence, he wouldn't get this large number of ladies, and another client added, I had eyes for him, however. What might be compared to I needed his cash, who really tends to think about what he resembles absolutely not a chance a wonderful lady. Like that starts watching on Jay-Z. Without the desire for acquiring something significant. Consequently, well, the battle for consideration and distinction in the business is extreme, yet Beyonce definitely knows how to play these power games. And what do you think, folks, is Beyonce?